Welcome to Christian Statesman. This is episode 8. I'm your host, Zach Wagner. And today our subject is how to hijack a republic. Contrary to many talking heads today, we do not live in a democracy. We live in a democratic republic. This is a unique form of governance that allows us to determine local political leadership by popular vote, as well as send representatives to national office. However, the top position, that of president, is selected by an electoral college. This allows more rural areas of the country to have a voice in such affairs more on par with the weightier and these days more politically homogeneous large urban areas. If you want to hijack a republic, you would need a combination of two strategies. The first strategy would be to turn those elected representatives against any wish of the constituents who elected them and towards the purposes of the hijackers. The second method would be to actually alter the outcome of elections so that only individuals who would cooperate with the hijackers were placed in position to assume offices of power. May we humbly suggest that both of these strategies have been effectively and now openly employed in America for some time. The implications of this are terrible to contemplate for the average voter who somehow labors under the delusion that their voice is being heard in the halls of Washington. We posit that such representation is far and away the exception these days, not the standard. Party politics, be it Republican or Democrat, is dominated by the special interests that provide so much of the money necessary for any congressman or president to ascend to office. And as we have seen with this election, as well as previous elections, not only are many of our candidates compromised, we may not be selecting some of the higher representatives at all. The Trump campaign alleges widespread voter fraud. As they gather supposed proof for these shenanigans, it is clear this is not the first time. A self-funded activist named Bev Harris runs a website called blackboxvoting.org. She released information and documentational videos after the Obama-Romney race in 2012 showing widespread systemic manipulation of our national voting system. She and her staff literally hacked into the system and demonstrated the backdoor algorithms used to alter vote counts in Obama's favor in 2012. Her work is solid and essentially undeniable, yet our nation let out a collective yawn. See the link provided below for a more direct education on the subject. If Harris's information is accurate, and she makes a most demonstrable and compelling case that would stand up in any court of law, why would this not be trumpeted across every mainstream media outlet in existence? It is, after all, a bombshell story. Harris shows irrefutably that our republic has been hijacked, and we are not necessarily selecting our president directly. And much of our media, if not all the mainstream media, is involved in keeping a false reality at the front of our minds. Nothing to see here, folks. Thus, in 2012, we can have 26 precincts in Philadelphia vote 100% for Obama, a statistical impossibility. 9 precincts in Cleveland followed that pattern. In numerous precincts in Ohio, there were 12 to 15% more votes cast than there were registered voters. This sort of impossible anomaly should be the subject of every law enforcement agency in the country. As the Trump campaign surrogates accurately put it, if this is proven, it is the greatest crime against our country in history. And indeed it would be. We saw more open fraud in the 2018 interim elections. Broward County, Florida was a fine example. As ballot counts mysteriously changed, tales of vehicles pulling up in the middle of the night and dumping additional ballots, etc. And again, the nation yawned. It is clear to anyone who cares to dig even a little that our republic has been and continues to be hijacked. The goals of these hijackers is a subject for future broadcasts, but the facts on the ground are a clear testimony to the premise. At a national level, we have long been under an illusion of representation, much more so than actual representation. One man came to Washington under the premise of attempting to change this. His name is Donald J. Trump. We must admit that he has made some progress in a positive direction on this issue, but as our current election status reveals, not nearly enough. The swamp may be much deeper than anyone expected. Can this be corrected? If it is not cleared up, we will be forced to admit that the hijackers are now essentially in control, and it is their surrogates fundamentally moving the levers of power.